It's like watching Wile E. Coyote trying to chase the Roadrunner.
That's
Oh,
great
can't
analogy
be-
there.
but that needed Benny Hill music. How did no one do that?
I'm surprised no one has actually done that. Hello and welcome back to the Off the Crossbar podcast with myself, Regan, Walsh, and my co-presenter as always, Brad. How are you on this Thursday afternoon?
I feel calm. It's always like there's winds of change in the air.
Yes, we're getting nearer to springtime, but that's not the only change that is nearing upon us, because it seems to be coming towards the end of an era in terms of Champions League dominance by Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, after both were dumped out this week in the UEFA Champions League by Paris Saint-Germain and FC Porto, respectively. So we'll start off with the Tuesday game, which saw Ronaldo's Juventus win the game 3-2, draw the game 4-4 in aggregate, and lose the game on away goals rule.
This game was a madness.
I mean, you summed it up perfectly. It was crazy. So Porto were awarded a penalty after 19 minutes, which Sergio Oliveira converted. Shortly after half-time, Federico Chiesa pulled one back for Paolo's side. Then a few minutes later, Mehdi Taremi picked up 2 yellow cards in 2 minutes and was sent off for Porto. Chiesa then put Juve ahead on the night and level on aggregate. Again, it was a standout performance for himself there, Chiesa. Then we managed to go to stoppage time, to which Sergio Oliveira scored a wonderful free kick with 5 minutes remaining in the total game, and then Adrien Rabiot scored 2 minutes after. However, it wasn't enough, as Porto would go on to win thanks to the away goal rule.
Can we really call that a wonderful free kick?
I mean, it was still good. He had a bit of work to do, but it was helped massively by Ronaldo being a fucking pussy in the wall.
Jesus Christ. Oh no.
I'm not having any sympathy for it, because that wall was stupid. Why is he turning his back for?
Perhaps he saw the old lady in suspicious circumstances and then got terrified.
Jesus. I mean, Carragher said it perfectly on CBS after the game. You shouldn't ever turn your back in a wall. And Sven-Göran Eriksson taught them when he was at England, if you don't jump either, you just stand on your tiptoes to get yourself that extra bit of height. Because what's the worst that can happen? Most players protect their private area, so that's not going to take any damage.
Hang on, what's the worst that could happen? Oh, I could go under you.
Yeah, but if you're not jumping, it's not going to go under you, is it?
Well, how come they've not done the tactic that literally every other club follows and just put someone behind the wall?
He did say that afterwards. Like, if you are going to jump, pull someone on the floor.
Where was the Zinchenko?
I just can't compute why he turned his back. Like, take it to the chest, take it to the face. He's known as one of the best headers in football.
No, you're forgetting one with Cristiano Ronaldo. All that.
But if he hits
the image, you can't destroy the image.
If he hits the wall in the attacking end, why can't he do it in the defensive mode?
It's like LeBron James breaking his hands. Can't suffer.
For me, it's absolutely pathetic, and you deserve to go out because of that goal. But credit to Porto, they were absolutely brilliant over the 2 ties, gave Juventus a proper hard fight, and definitely upset the odds there. And credit to Sergio Coenchao for how he set up his team throughout both legs. They were brilliant. And a special mention before we continue with this game to Pepe. At 38 years old, he was sublime.
And he's still a perfect shithouse.
Yeah. One of the best performances I've seen individually by a player in Champions League for a while. Like defensively, that was just such a joy to watch.
Yeah. And speaking of pathetic, can we go on to the absolute shambles that was the Porto press conference?
Yeah, that was...
As someone that does a media course, broadcasting, something that I'm into, that's offensive.
Yeah.
And that's not just one journalist doing their job separately. And you could imagine dozens of journalists doing their job
Yeah,
terribly.
that'd be about 15 to 20 of them minimum
It's
that
shocking.
I haven't asked him a single question. So his press conference lasted 48 seconds after. I can understand, say, if they lost drastically,
Or
but
there
they
was like
just,
technical issues, but nothing seemed to suggest there was because they were just there, like speaking to them, weren't they?
yeah, 48 seconds for a man that has just won in the Champions League, and it's 100% an upset because before this tie, no one would have said Porto would beat Juventus at all. So the fact that they did it and won both legs impressively as well, the fact that he didn't have a single question is beyond me.
If you come at this from Sergio's point of view, it's like, yeah, go on.
Yeah.
I'll go home now.
If I was him, I'd be like, yeah, fuck off. I'm happy to leave. You don't want to ask me a question once I've just beaten one of the big teams in Europe and one of the best players in the world. Well, then start off. Then I'm never going to give you my time again.
I suppose you understand it because they probably all looked the same idea and went, well, the main story is actually Ronaldo going out.
Yeah,
But it's still bad.
you've got to give the man credit for what he's done.
I've never seen anything like that before in my life. How do you not have a single question for the manager who's just won the game?
Yeah, I have no idea whatsoever. It's absolutely crazy. Then the other big team that have been eliminated was Barcelona. They lost 5-2 on aggregate, despite drawing the game yesterday 1-1 with PSG. Mbappe scored a penalty after half an hour, which was very controversial.
It
There didn't
wasn't.
seem to be.
Sorry, if the David Luiz one is controversial, and that one is just as controversial, how is that a pen?
Oh, I have no idea. There was no contact,
How
if
is
not
it?
minimalistic at
We're
all.
asking the question, how is it? Oh, was that? English referees are on duty for this one. Oh, that's why.
Yes. I mean, well, I don't know what Langley was meant to do there, though, in that situation.
I mean, he had his own bad moment again anyway, so.
Mbappe calmly dispatches the penalty after sending Ter Stegen the wrong way. And I believe he's now the youngest player to reach 25 goals, is it? In the Champions League?
So, give it the quarterfinals. What we're saying now about Haaland.
Yes, incredible, right?
We'll get to him. My God.
Yes, we'll get to him in a second. And then 7 minutes later, Lionel Messi equalises on the night with an absolute thunder bastard of a strike.
Thunder bastard, capitals.
Yeah, I mean,
That man literally just turned to Thanos at that moment and said, fuck it, I'll do it myself.
yeah, absolutely crazy. I mean, I'm just looking here. That was his 19th goal he scored in the Champions League from outside the box. Since his debut in the competition back in December 2004, only Ronaldo has scored more from range in this competition with 20. Just unbelievable. But Messi did have a penalty later on in the game, which he class it as a miss, but it was stopped by Keylor Navas in goal. Again,
And
good performance.
it's just as Lionel Messi to miss penalties as well.
Yeah. So, with both Messi and Ronaldo going out in the round of 16, which is the first time that this has happened since the 2004-2005 season, and the emergence in the past 18 months of Erling Haaland, Braut, and Kylian Mbappe, is this now the start of the end for both Messi and Ronaldo in big Europe competitions?
It's the end in terms of what we know Messi, what we've always known Messi and Ronaldo as.
Mm-hmm.
It's the downward spirals.
Yeah, I mean,
But both are going for a downfall in different ways.
Messi's has
Ronaldo,
more quickly happened and drastically, where Ronaldo's is starting to be a slow decline.
Yeah, Ronaldo's a slow decline, but with Messi, he's still sort of doing it. It's everything around him has just declined more. Whereas
Yeah.
Ronaldo, it's still there, but they're not delivering.
Like we said the other week on the podcast, what's happened to Barcelona in the last 12, 18 months and everything imploding, that's why Messi's decline seems so bad and Ronaldo's doesn't, because obviously Juventus won the Serie A title last season. they're they're challenging again for it this season. They're in the Coppa Italia final where they'll play Atalanta. So it's not dreadfully bad for Ronaldo compared to Messi, but both are slightly starting to decline. And I think for me,
we could say it's not coincidental that all the rumours are now coming that Ronaldo's going to leave Juventus.
Yeah, he's got another 12 months on his contract currently, but for me, he doesn't work in this Juve team.
Can't we say that the Ronaldo Juventus experiment has technically failed?
Not technically, it has massively failed. His main objective of going there for Juventus was to win the Champions League with them, and he hasn't done it.
Yeah,
because winning the league, they were going to do it with him or without him. That's simple as daylight.
I'd be surprised nowadays. I don't think this season they've built their game. I think AC and Inter are quite ahead of them.
Yeah, this season definitely, but in the 2 seasons prior, when he joined, I don't think there was any question really as to whether they were going to win the league title or not. But the main objective of him being brought in was to get them the Champions League glory, and he hadn't done it at all whilst there. And you got to say it's a massive fail. And I know I don't know whether it was Arsene Wenger the other week said it or someone else, but he's too selfish to be in this Juve team. He wants the ball all the time to him. He wants every shot for him to take, and it doesn't work in how Juve play their style of play. Whether it was under Maurizio Sarri or Andrea Pirlo this season, or I can't remember. He was the manager before Sarri. Was it Allegri still there?
I believe he was still Allegri.
Yeah, because this is Ronaldo's third season now, isn't it?
Or was it Conte?
Correct.
Did he not go back? No, I'm wrong.
Conte went straight to Inter. Yeah. So in the way Inter play, it doesn't work. Not Inter, sorry, Juve. How Juve play doesn't suit Ronaldo's style of play, where at Real Madrid, after a few years, the team was built around him and he would be able to do everything they needed to, where this Juve team is completely different and it's a different style of play, and that's why it hasn't worked as well for him in Europe.
Yeah.
But speaking of the other emergence in the Champions League in recent years, Erling Haaland brought again another phenomenal performance.
Are you saying Haaland Braut?
Is it Haaland?
Haaland? Erling Braut Haaland.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
Actually, I swear the commentators now say Haaland, so I think that's how you're supposed to say it.
We'll just call him Erling for now, for simple terms.
We don't know him personally. You can't call him Erling.
Okay. Another phenomenal performance from him. Scored a brace again. Had 1 goal disallowed early on in the second half. Dortmund not easily through in the end. They get through after being Sevilla 5-4 in aggregate, despite Yusuf El En-Nesyri putting up a good performance in the last 20 minutes or so of the game. Haaland is just
this guy's the dude, Zlatan. I love him.
He's out of this world.
He's such a great finisher, but he's also seems to be a fantastic shootout.
Yes, after the penalty malarkey between
Did you hear what he said about it? Did you hear what he said about it? It was like the keeper said something, but then obviously when he retook the penalty and then scored it, he said the same thing back. Like the same
didn't know what
he didn't know what it meant. He's just like,
yeah, absolutely brilliant.
The whole Sevilla squad just chasing him.
Yeah, he's absolutely hysterical.
It was like watching Wile E. Coyote trying to chase the Roadrunner.
That's great analogy there.
That needed Benny Hill music. How did no one do that?
I'm surprised no one has actually done that. Just had Haaland running around with but yeah, Haaland, phenomenal performance. And I'm actually at a loss for words for him now. He's just out of this world. The final game that has happened this week out of the 4 fixtures was Liverpool versus Leipzig yesterday, with Liverpool winning 2-0 on the night and 4-0 on aggregate thanks to Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane goals. Liverpool, they had a lot of chances to score, and for me, it just didn't look like they were ever going to score.
I mean, they did the deed. They did what they needed.
Yeah, they did what they needed, but they should have absolutely hammered Leipzig. Some of the balls Thiago was playing towards them.
There's a bit of breaking news that I have.
Go on.
It would seem that Liverpool have now put in a request for the rest of the season to play their games in Budapest. They've scored more in Budapest than Anfield this year.
Jesus, that is bad. Yeah, like you said, they got the win, they got the result that they needed to, so they can't complain too much. I'm not too sure when the...
I don't know if you saw the Thiago pass, the karate kick pass.
Yes. Oh. Absolutely beautiful.
Best thing he's done in a Liverpool shirt so far.
So we have the other 4 ties in the Champions League to be played next Tuesday and Wednesday, with Man City playing on the Tuesday and Chelsea versus Atletico next Wednesday. Right, on to our preview of the weekend now. We have a full slate of cards again in the Premier League. Not really that many big games to look forward to this weekend, but there's obviously the main one on Sunday at 4:30 between Arsenal and Tottenham.
I call it the main, but it's probably the least amount of publicity this North London derby will ever have. Both teams are just out of it at the moment. Except for Tottenham, but they're sort of starting to come back, with Arsenal just trying but failing.
Arsenal just doing Arsenal stuff. I mean, this is a game with how well the Spurs front 3 are playing at the minute. They could absolutely dominate Arsenal and humiliate Mikel Arteta's side. Then again, Spurs have been so inconsistent this season as well. They could just capitulate here and Arsenal will end up winning. I really don't know how to say this one goes.
I don't think Arsenal win this. I still think this potentially has Tottenham scoring at least 3. I think Bale and Kane will have a nice time of it.
I don't know. It could be an interesting watch, but like we always say, it's the 4:30 on Sky Sports, so it could end up being a boring 0-0 game.
Thanks for jinxing that.
Yeah. Else in the Premier League this weekend, the game after that at 7:15 sees Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Manchester United welcome West Ham United to Old Trafford. So, usually we wouldn't say this is a game of interest, but how well West Ham are performing this season and Manchester United's inconsistencies against the so-called lesser teams at times, it's definitely one to watch.
Yep. The thing with Man U is they should now carry momentum from beating Man City.
100%.
But also the problem is they're also playing against AC Milan in the Europa League, and we don't know how that will affect them yet. Who knows? They could come away with a big injury in that and completely change their mindset going into this one. And well, I'll just admit, West Ham are going to be without their best player, so.
I was just about to say that myself. Jesse Lingard obviously won't be able to play in this game as he is on loan from Manchester United, and as far as I'm aware, there's no loan agreement in place.
Genuine question, as a United fan, or the mindset, do you think Jesse Lingard somehow gets back into that Man U team when he comes back?
I don't think he does. I think West Ham will try and make that move permanent, or he moves abroad. I don't think Solskjaer has him in his plans at all.
It definitely seems more likely for West Ham to make it more permanent. I don't know why he'd want to go abroad if he's enjoying life at West Ham.
Yeah, but say a decent European AC Milan, AC Milan and Inter Milan are loving buying Premier League players at the minute. One of them two might come up, and obviously the chance to play in the Champions League. Say if West Ham miss out on it this season, it could be something that he might take. But at the minute, like you say, West Ham is the best option for him.
Can I ask your thoughts as well on the new director structure that was announced yesterday?
Yes, so Darren Fletcher was appointed director of football, and John Murtagh was. And
it wasn't that in name.
Yes.
But
I can't even. What did they say?
Darren Fletcher was like technical director, but then there's a guy above him.
Yeah, I think that John Murtagh is the one who's meant to be above him now. but I'm not too sure.
It's all about the United DNA.
He's the football director, John Murtagh. So from what I saw from reading the statement yesterday, is Murtagh's going to be the one mainly dealing with like the transfer side of stuff with Solskjaer and Matt Judge and Ed Woodward, and Darren Fletcher's role will be to like help with the academy and grow that.
Darren Fletcher's role is to find a load of new Darren Fletchers.
Yes. And what an excellent player he was for Manchester United. Absolutely underrated, I think. I think it could work. Just hoping it means Ed Woodward doesn't have to deal with transfers, and we get out taking the mick for some deals, and doesn't take us forever to get a deal wrapped up anymore.
Yeah, because why would you go and try and sign Jadon Sancho? He ain't worth it.
I'm not saying he's not worth it, but
who needs Erling Haaland?
Like United knew from minute one of the last summer's window what Dortmund's asking price was for him, and it was never going to change. So the dilly-dally of will we get a deal done, will we not get a deal done, is just, I think it was just ridiculous. And it's happened in the past. Harry Maguire deal, that took forever to get done. Bruno Fernandes took 6 months to get done. It's United never do anything easy.
The Wesley Sneijder one's still getting done.
So is Nicholas Gaitan as well. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with United and going forward with these deals. Elsewhere in the Premier League this weekend, Friday's action is between Newcastle United and your Aston Villa from St James's Park. Dean Smith announced today that Jack Grealish isn't going to be available for this one. How are you feeling heading into it?
Even without Jack Grealish, if we don't beat Newcastle, I may have to retire from this podcast. I can't do Monday's recording with a straight face if we don't win this game.
I think then you can say your chances of getting Europe are well and truly over if you lose to Newcastle.
Oh, yeah. But I still have hope of 7th.
Yeah, it's definitely not off the table.
We've already overachieved this season. Why not just go for it? Best player or not?
I mean, for me, like I said to you the other day, I don't think we was recording. I think it was pre-recording or after recording. She was telling you my predictions, and I had Villa to go down this season. So, for me, anything in above survival for Villa is a massive achievement, and a top half finish is an overachievement, I think.
Yeah, I think we just got to think of the end of season earnings now.
Yeah. 100%.
But it was I need to express the meltdown that was happening on Twitter yesterday, because people, they're so paranoid now on Villa Twitter that they panicked over not seeing Grealish, Watkins, Traore and El Ghazi in training pics.
Jesus Christ.
Like, oh no, they're all injured.
Quite ridiculous.
Villa Twitter is a very special place at times. But I love it.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes football Twitter can be the funniest place and also the stupidest place to be on. Saturday's action gets underway at 12:30 at Elland Road between Leeds United and Chelsea. Could be a very entertaining game between the two sides. Thomas Tuchel obviously still undefeated since taking over from Frank Lampard. Leeds United, they always play that attacking football. The last time these two sides met, Chelsea ended up winning 3-1 thanks to Giroud, Zuma and Pulisic on the goals for Lampard.
You gotta remember, that was a completely different manager with a very different style of football.
Yeah, 100%. They definitely play different ways now. Yeah, for me, Chelsea win this quite comfortably.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a high scorer there, just because that's not what Chelsea are at the moment.
No, they're definitely not a free scoring team. They're happy. Quite happy with conservatives.
They're very well organised.
Very organised and very conservative in how they play the games, and it's getting them the results so far. So you can't complain. Next up at 3 o'clock sees Crystal Palace play West Bromwich Albion in the Sam Allardyce derby. I mean, it feels like every other week is a Sam Allardyce derby in the Premier League.
He's managed most teams.
Exactly. But the way Palace are playing at the minute, it's again, this is the type of game Sam Allardyce can win. And you'll be like, okay, maybe there's a slim chance for West Brom to stay up, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise you if Palace do win like 2-3-0 in the end because of how poor West Brom actually are.
Oh no, Palace don't go that far.
Don't you think so?
Zaha's still out, isn't he?
As far as I'm aware, yes, he is still out.
This Palace team don't have much in the attacking sense. Oh no, I mean, it's very rare Benteke just pipes up now and again. But they don't have enough to batter teams right now.
Yeah.
Like, Eze's alright, but he's not going to carry the game or score for the neck at the moment.
No, and I think it will take a lot more from him and more time at Palace to be a truly game changer.
I'll leave my next bit on that game for that.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Everton versus Burnley at 5:30 at Goodison Park. Everton should win this quite comfortably.
I roll nothing out with Burnley anymore. They're being gifted goals by teams. Quite literally.
Well, yeah, flick back to last week, they were literally gifted a goal. But I think this should be an easy Everton win on paper.
On paper, yes, but Burnley just turn up in some games now and again.
And then the final game to close off Saturday is at Craven Cottage as Scott Parker's Fulham welcome Manchester City to town. Man City won 5-2 in the Premier League yesterday, so they already got over their defeat to Manchester United quite quickly. However, I think this game for City is going to be a lot harder than Southampton because Fulham aren't really putting up that fight in wanting to stay in the league this season. And I could see if City are a bit lackadaisical, Fulham will punish them and get the result they need.
Have you really just said Fulham have a chance of winning this?
Yeah. I mean, if you think back to the first leg, it's not Champions League, the first game, it was only 2-0 to Manchester City. De Bruyne and Sterling scored, and that was back in, when was that? The first weekend of December. And think back to how poor Fulham were then. Like, they gave Man City a proper running for it.
So I feel like that was the start of where Fulham started to turn it around because people were impressed that they didn't get battered.
Yeah. I know, I remember saying to you, I think I was expecting like 4-5-0 to Man City, but they put up a good fight. So I wouldn't be surprised if they put up a good game again. I mean, their last couple of games before this, they obviously beat Liverpool and 1-0 and lost to Spurs only 1-0. So they're doing quite decent with the big teams.
As organised and in a good run of form, they look Fulham would be very lucky to get an attack in this game.
But don't rule out anything in the Premier League. Then on
you don't.
Sunday, we kick off at 12 o'clock in the South Coast as Southampton welcome Brighton and Hove Albion to St Mary's. This game's on BBC One if you're in the United Kingdom. Now, this game, I think this is going to be the boring game of the weekend.
Really?
We always say yes.
The way Brighton are, they're shooting.
Exactly, they're not going to score.
Guaranteed chances. Brighton aren't involved in boring games.
But they're not going to fucking score, are they?
Yeah, they might do. They scored against Leicester.
No, I mean, they did, but are you really expecting them to put up a good scoring fight against Southampton this weekend?
Considering it's technically a South Coast derby, yes.
But it's not really seen as a South Coast derby.
It's not, but it's the closest to a derby they've got.
Southampton, that is.
Yeah, it's the closest, like, distance-wise they've got to a derby.
Yeah, both teams aren't really in the best of forms this season. I'd say both are underachieving. And
Southampton aren't out of it looking at this table. Like, another run of poor losses and then teams blow and picking up points like they were, and they're sucked right in. But last week's win helped them out massively.
Oh yeah, it did 100%. Got them the right bit of stick that they needed to get their season a bit back on track. But I think they're good enough to stay up, but it won't be as easy as they think.
Their saving grace will be that there are probably 3 worse teams than them.
Yes, 100%.
I say 3 worse teams overall the whole season.
Yeah. Then next up at 2:00 is Leicester versus Sheffield United from the King Power Stadium on Sky Sports. Leicester have been up and down at times this season, but obviously we're back to winning ways last week, beating Brighton. Sheffield United have been poor all season, and you got to say you would expect an easy Leicester win. However, the reverse fixture of this at Bramall Lane, it took Jamie Vardy until the 90th minute to score the winner.
This has notoriously been a close fixture between the two, but Jamie Vardy always loves a goal against his team's massive rivals.
Yes. As he is a Sheffield Wednesday fan.
Yeah, he's an owl at heart.
Like we've said before, regardless of the result, we know Sheffield United are down. Leicester will be hoping with victory they can go above Man United, even if it is just for a couple of hours. Is that bit of reassurance of we can bridge a bit of a gap to the teams below us and try and cement our place in the top 4 for Champions League next season, which will be very decent for Brendan Rodgers' side. And then obviously we talked about the other 2 games being Arsenal, Tottenham, and Man United versus West Ham that weekend. And then the final game this weekend will be played on Monday evening between Wolverhampton Wanderers and Liverpool at 8:00 from the Molineux on Sky Sports again. Liverpool 6 home defeats in a row in the league. However, they did win their last away game 2-0 against Sheffield United. Wolves been really inconsistent up and down throughout the whole season. You just don't know what's going to come to this game, because the first fixture was a 4-0 victory for Liverpool. Salah, Ronaldo, Matip and Semedo own goal. However, I don't see that being such a big scoreline this week.
What is this again? Molineux?
Yeah.
Give them a chance. Wolves' things is where they only play one half of football recently. So it's going to be on Liverpool to score early, I think. But they don't do that.
Exactly, I was going to say they don't seem to do. So that's why I think it's going to be an open game and a much closer game than what happened the first time these 2 sides met earlier in the season. Right, elsewhere in the world of football, Real Madrid play Elche in La Liga on Saturday at 3:15, and Getafe host Atletico Madrid at 8:00. And Barcelona don't play until Monday night when they face Huesca at the Camp Nou. Over in Italy this weekend, Fiorentina play Benevento, Roma travel to Parma, Inter Milan travel to Turin to take on Torino, Juventus play Cagliari, and the big game of the weekend in Italy sees AC Milan host Napoli on Sunday evening at 7:45. Over in Germany in the Bundesliga, Augsburg play host to Borussia Mönchengladbach on Friday evening, Werder Bremen play Bayern Munich, Wolfsburg face Schalke, and Bayer Leverkusen play Arminia Bielefeld, Leipzig play Frankfurt, and Borussia Dortmund play Hertha Berlin. So not really the biggest games this weekend in terms of top leagues in European football, but definitely still a lot to happen. And it'll be very interesting to see the outcomes of some of those games. Right, I'll hand over to you now for the predictions leagues.
Well, I think you should go for the women's football.
Okay, so not a lot of women's football news this week because we only have one tonight between Birmingham City and Everton, I want to say. Yes, again from St George's Park. That's available on the FA Player. And then on the weekend, we have the one game in the WSL that's happening due to most of the teams playing next week during the midweek. And we also have the Conti Cup on Sunday afternoon between Chelsea and Bristol City at 2:30. So that is definitely one to look forward to. And the game of the weekend is Reading versus Tottenham at 12:30. So there has been some other news in the world of women's football. The Daily Mail reported at the start of this week that Sky Sports and the BBC will show the Women's Super League from next season, taking over the rights from BT Sport, who currently show one game a week. It hasn't been disclosed as to how many games Sky will be showing, but I expect maybe something quite similar to what BT are currently doing. It was announced yesterday that current England interim head manager Hegarisa will lead Team GB in football at this summer's Olympics in Tokyo. So that is definitely something to look forward to. Chelsea are through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League after beating Atletico Madrid in their ties. They are absolutely dominant over both ties, though Atletico Madrid did have 3 penalties over the games and failed to score any of them, which is quite embarrassing. And Manchester City are currently playing against Fiorentina. There's about 20 minutes so all left to go, and they're currently 4-0 up on the game, 7-0 up on aggregate. So it looks like we'll have 2 English teams in the quarterfinals of Europe, which is good news. Right, back over to you for the predictions then.
Okay, now we go there. So we have, as you all said as well, wildcard options are very slim this week in terms of a fair and easy game. They're pretty easy predictions, you'd think.
Yeah.
But I have managed to find through. But I'll start with the Premier League options. Obviously, we have to have Arsenal and Tottenham.
For me, I'm going to go Spurs to win this game 2-1.
I'm in 2 minds here because I want to say Tottenham score a few, but then I remember it's the 4:30 kickoff.
Yeah.
I go for 3-1 Tottenham.
Okay. Just quickly, Arsenal are at home for that one, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure for how I've got it written down so it doesn't look wrong. Game 2?
Crystal Palace and West Brom.
I'm going to have to go Palace to win 1-0.
Well, I'm going to have to go West Brom to win 1-0.
Wow. Wasn't expecting that one.
And Mbaye Diagne is going to be the scorer.
Fair enough. And the final game?
Southampton Brighton.
Saints win 2-1.
I'll say 1-1.
Okay. And over to the, well, I'll say Europe, but 3 wildcard games because they're not necessarily all going to be from Europe.
No, they're not. There's only 2. It's actually only 2 from Europe. Just so you know.
Have you gone to Australia for the 3rd game or something?
Just wait until I go to that last one. Okay. But I start with the standout from Europe, and then it's AC Milan and Napoli.
I don't know Milan, what they're going to be like injury-wise and freshness after, obviously, tonight's game with Manchester United, but I'm going to go Milan to win 3-2.
2-1 AC Milan.
Okay, game number 5.
To Germany.
Oh, yes.
I'll go with the top 4 battle of RB Leipzig and Eintracht Frankfurt.
It's going to be a close affair, and I'm going to think I'm going to go with 2-2 here.
I'll match you with that.
First time in a long time that we've matched.
Yeah. So, last option. You have no idea what's coming right now, do you?
Nope, I don't even know what country we're going into.
We are in England.
Are we? Well, I know we are.
We are in England with this one.
Oh, okay.
Because this weekend sees the final of the greatest competition in the Football League. This weekend sees League One Portsmouth face League Two Salford City in the formerly known as Johnston's Paints Trophy, the EFL Trophy final.
The Papa John's Trophy, is that?
I believe it is the Papa John's Trophy.
Or was that the Checker Cherry Trophy?
It was all of them. But I've always known it as the Johnston's Paint Trophy. I'll still call it that to this day.
I'll still call it the Johnston. It's like the Carling Cup, even though it's not sponsored by Carling anymore. It's still the Carling Cup. Pompey 1-0.
I'm going to take form into account with this. Portsmouth right now, oh shit. They are bottling it. They hate their manager. Whereas Salford are, I believe, in playoffs.
Not too sure.
I'm not sure. I know they're up there. But I'd go Salford. 2-1.
Okay.
You should be happy. It's the 92 boys getting their first trophy.
I don't care. So, just a quick update. Manchester City have added, a fifth on the game against Fiorentina to make it 8-0. And the WSL have announced that the last weekend of March, you can watch all of the WSL games live, back to back.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Coronavirus. Joking, it's not.
So, pretty sure it is.
That weekend, the 27th and 28th of March, will start off with Manchester United versus West Ham. Then we have the North London derby after that between Tottenham and Arsenal, which is taking place at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Then you have Man City versus Reading to round off Saturday. And then on Sunday, in the WSL, you can watch Brighton versus Everton. That's followed by Chelsea versus Aston Villa on BT Sport, followed by Birmingham City versus Bristol City as well. And all the FA Women's Championship games are also available to watch on the FA Player as well. So that is some great stuff to look forward to at the end of the month. Obviously, we'll talk about it later on in the month and a lot closer to the time as well. Right. Is that it? Or is there any more talking points that we may have missed?
I believe that's everything that I've got.
Okay. We'll be back at the start of next week to round up our predictions and anything else that happens in the world of football. Maybe Liverpool lose for another game. What else do we have to look forward to next week? Obviously, we'll have a preview the Champions League that are coming next week, and anything else that happens in the world of football. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Download us if you're listening to on Apple, Spotify, and give us a 5-star rating if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts. Until then,
we'll take anything at this point, please.
Until then, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Brad.
Please, we're desperate.
And we'll see you soon.